Hello guys, and welcome back to another cold episode. On today's episode, the top 100 decks are out. I don't believe it's all the top 100 decks from the Duelist Cup, but alas, here we are. And we can see a bit of the breakdown. I don't believe it's everything, obviously, but it should give you a general idea as to what was being played. So let's quickly go through this little wheel here. First and foremost, we have Draco taking up technically the most amount of slots, but I think Yummy actually takes up the most amount of slots. We have 19 Sulfur Yummy, but then we also have 3 regular Yummy, or like pure Yummy, and some Mitsu Yummy in there as well. So I think Yummy takes up more slots. We also see Mitsurugi Raizel. Obviously, Mitsu is in a few other decks as well, most notably with the Yummy cards. And then we have Vanquish Canine coming in at 4th. Now, to be fair, I do think that there is a reasonable explanation as to why Vanquish Canine, which I believe to be the best deck, wasn't at the top, or at least wasn't as consistently at the top. And the reason for it is twofold. One, it's a difficult deck. If you do not play the deck perfectly or extremely well, you're oftentimes not going to do very well. I had this same experience. I went from playing Yummy, did really, really well, climbed really high, and then I started to play Vanquish Canine because I was like, I want to play Vanquish Canine. And I immediately dropped, like, most of my points. Maybe not most of them, but, like, a good chunk of them. And I just did not climb at all. It was really, really bad. And a lot of it was my own mistakes. So, I do understand as to why this deck didn't perform as well. It is very, very difficult. And it's very punishing. Like, one mistake causes you irreparable damage. So, that is something to keep in mind. On top of that, I do believe it is difficult to play for long periods of time. So something like Draco is extremely easy. Same thing with Yummy. These are extremely easy decks to just like sit down, play 10 million games, and like turn your brain off, right? Obviously, you can't just auto win by not thinking about the game, right? But they're significantly easier. So there are my thoughts on that. Gem Knight is kind of a standout here. I'm surprised this did as well as it did. However, from what I've seen, a lot of the Gem Knight decks were playing like Floodgates, and it seems to be something where it was, oh, I'm going to play Gem Knights to kind of climb the early levels, maybe, to just auto-win with like a bunch of Floodgates or something of that nature. This was the auto-win deck, right? The deck that didn't really require a whole bunch of thought, just required you to do the combo, end on the Floodgate, and then win. There was some Odeon, Lunalight, Orcus, stuff like that. You can also see Megalith is in here. It was obviously Megalith Mitsu, but Megalith was in here. Same with Azamina. Also, yes, Malice is also in here. This was also with Radiant Typhoon. However, this is not a comprehensive list, as you will see as we go through this. First and foremost, Tatsu, made it again, did it again, with none other than Vanquish Canine. That's why I'm saying, like, I do think you just have to be better. Tatsu's obviously better. We all know it. And this deck's really solid. Don't know what else to say. Pretty solid list. The notable thing in here is Retaliating Sea. That's it. Just, yeah, it's pretty good. Happens to be an Earth, which is pretty solid as well. But it also pairs well against the Draco lists, which, there you go. I guess it's also not bad against Mitsu. It's not great against Mitsu, but, like, if they activate Prayers to like special summon a guy, you can do something. I don't know. Maybe it's good against that. Don't quote me on that. You can see Mitsu Raizel from the 3rd place list. I believe the 2nd place was playing Draco from what I saw. So there you go. 4th place is Yummy Sulfur. One of the reasons the Sulfur list was being played was because of Herald of Orange Light. It's an insane card, and being able to access it is one of the reasons we're playing it. As you can see, we're even playing like 3 Cutia. There were some people who were also playing like the Time Lord level 1 because it's a fairy, but it was a fairy that special summons itself. But I think the Cutia is also a fairly decent option because it's additional Sulfur Cords. Here's the first Draco list. Again, I believe this is all different decks up until this point. Yeah, all of the top 5 are technically or that's not entirely true. The top 4 are all different decks, but now we get repeats. Draco and Raizel Mitsu. We can see the Gem Knight list, number 7, Gem Knight. Again, Herald of Orange Light. I would be surprised if this card survived the ban list at this point. This is a very easy limitation. Just put it back to 1. A lot of these decks that are topping are topping because of this, or like doing really well because of this card specifically. So there's that. This one doesn't happen to be playing any of the Floodgates. However, from what I've heard, don't quote me on this. I don't speak Korean. I believe this is Korean. From what I've heard or seen, apparently they played the Floodgate style. They played like a Floodgate. I don't know what it was. Pachycephalo maybe. Early. And then when they started to play against better players or climb the ranks, they took the Floodgate out. So, don't know why that's the case. Maybe bricking or something else of that nature. I really have no idea what this deck aims to do. It's just like Fiendsmith stuff, I guess. I don't know. I've never seen it actually do anything. Most of the time I just died at this guy. So, there you go. Anyway, next up we have Ryzeal Mitsu again. Here's more Sulfur. Here's the Time Maiden that I was talking about earlier. It's just a free special summon. That's the idea behind it. It's a free special summon that happens to also be a fairy for Herald of Orange Light. Here's Yummy Mitsu. Here's another Draco Tail list. K9 Vanquish Soul again. And then some Yummy Mitsu as well. Here's more Yummy. This is a more pure variant of Yummy, utilizing more hand traps. Things like Ghost Spell is in here. They're also playing Gamma. Again, it's that Herald of Orange Light. Being able to negate a monster effect is very powerful. So, there's that. We also have another Ryzeal Mitsu. Ryzeal Mitsu, and then Draco Tail. More Yummy Sulfur, also utilizing the Time Maiden. Just more Yummy and Draco Tail and all of that jazz. Nothing really too interesting. A lot of these are very, very similar in the ratios, right? Obviously, a lot of them happen to be on teams together or like communicating together, right? So there's that. You can see here more Draco Tail, Yummy, and the like. More Mitsu, more Draco Tail, more Yummy. Here's Man. Pretty simple here as well. Utilizing the Primite and the Man. One Pot of Desires is very funny. But yeah, 40 cards. And then Ryzeal Mitsu. I would imagine this was probably played at the lower ranks to just kind of get some auto wins. This is kind of not great into a lot of different decks at the top. It's pretty bad against like Vanquish Soul in particular, right? Like K9 Vanquish Soul is pretty good into it because a lot of the cards activate in hand or something like that. Draco Tail also is pretty good into it just due to the nature of the Draco Tail cards, right? So I would imagine that's probably why they switched. Here's some more Yummy. Yeah, here you go. Aurora, Paragon. Neither player can special summon monsters. There you go. There's the Floodgate. This is generally what Gem Knights was aimed to do, right? And you can see they're even playing Herald of Green Light and Herald of Purple Light, which is the Spell and Trap Negate. So it's basically just like say no to something really big and then generate advantage off of like Neparim and eventually summon Paragon. Kind of silly. Here's Vanquish Soul, more Draco Tail, utilizing a much larger package of both bestials and branded and stuff like that. It's kind of interesting, but this looks terrible. I'm not gonna lie. I have no idea what's going on here. This seems like a branded player who really wanted to play branded, but was forced to play Draco Tail because branded's not good. Anyway, Vanquish Soul K9, more Draco Tail. Here is Orchist. This is what the Orchist players were doing. They were utilizing the Dark Magician Girl, the Apprentice Magician, to go into Dragoon. So you just end on Dragoon on top of all of your other stuff. It would be like your first action that you would take. And then you would just go from there into the Orchist line. Because any two guys does the whole Orchist line and does Fiendsmith and all of that jazz. So that's the kind of idea there. They're not playing the Fiendsmith stuff, but you still end on the Orchists. Here's Draco Tail again. More Man. Ryzeal Mitsu. Gem Knight. Luna Light. Liger Dancer Turbo. I got nothing to say about this one. Red Reboot, I guess. More Liger Dancer Turbo. Here's our first instance of Radiant Typhoon. Alongside the Sky Striker cards. I don't know. Radiant Typhoon. There you go. Heavy Polymerization, Turbo, alongside the Liger Dancer. There you go. Here we can see they tried Radiant Typhoon. Looks like they didn't do very well with it. Playing 3 Manifestation. I don't think this is a good card. I don't know why we're playing it. It's a pretty bad card, but okay. And you can see they probably switched off of that, playing either Snake Eye Yummy, I guess, and then, of course, the Draco Tail. Here's more Gem Knight Malice with the Radiant Typhoon cards, because, yeah, as it turns out, you can go into Cherubini, which then dumps a 3, which all of these happen to be 3s, so you can do that. And then from there, you even get access to the Haggard Lizardos, because you can search multiple of these guys, and then, like, any normal summon does it, right? So, kind of silly there. Anyway, out comes these, the Magistus, right? Magistus, yes, okay. Magistus Draco Tail. I think this is the only Magistus variant. I think all of the rest were branded. So, there's that. More Yummy Sulfur. Here's another Orchist. Kind of an interesting idea with Orchist, because previously, oftentimes they would play the Fiendsmith stuff. But it seems they've pivoted because Dragoon. This one's not even playing Dragoon. Oh, it's just guys. It's just additional guys. That's hilarious. Huh, wild. Anyway, man. Here's the Megalith build. Playing Block Dragon, and it's Patches Have a Low Turbo. It's just Patches Have a Low Turbo. You hate to see it. You hate to see it. They're also playing, for some... This is a really weird list, and ooh, it's weird. They're playing so many just wild cards. It's mostly Engine. The only non-Engine in here is Maxi and Ash, which is very funny. But they're playing 1 Engraver, 1 Lurie, and 1 Tract, and I don't get it. It's very silly. Lots of other weird things in here. Anyway, they were also playing Big Control K9. Here's the Gem Knights again, playing Red Reboot. Hopefully this gets Red Reboot banned, but it won't. Out comes Sulfur. Here's Ryzeal Mitsu. More Ryzeal Mitsu. Here's the Super Quant Red Layer Vanquish K9. This card's pretty good. It's not great, though it's much better than Pluton. I don't know why we're playing Pluton. I don't know what world made them decide to play Pluton. Yeah, this card's never been good. It's so bad, dude. You kind of think about it and you're like, I could see where Pluton would come up, and then you actually play with it and it's just terrible. It's so bad. Anyway, here's Vanity's Ruler, Yummy, and Draco Tail. More Sky Striker, playing the Gamma as well. Orchist. This is more so what you would expect with Orchist, right? The more standard, quote-unquote, build that we've seen thus far, right? Utilizing Engraver and the Millennium cards. So there's a pretty standard list there. We have Draco Tail, more Yummy Sulfur, more Yummy Sulfur, Draco Tail, and here's the Azamina list as well. It's playing Grass and Reasoning and stuff like that. Wild, weird. I don't know what's going on here. I could not tell you as to what is trying to transpire. They're even playing like Rollback. I have no idea what's going on with this. This looks I don't know. I didn't make the deck. I'm not going to talk about it. Here we have more, man. Yummy Sulfur, Luna Light, Draco Tail, Ryzeal Mitsu, and then Gemini's playing Aurora Paragon. Woo. So that's it. Pretty interesting. All in all, I actually really did enjoy this Duelist Cup. It wasn't as good as I was expecting it to be, which was my issue with it. I was very frustrated because I don't know. I felt like I could have done better. However, this one definitely felt like the better player won most of the time. I felt like I did play pretty poorly in a lot of my matches, and it was because of that I ended up losing. So I will say this one felt significantly better than a lot of the previous ones, especially like the Tenpai Duelist Cup and what have you. So all in all, I'm actually pretty happy with the current metagame. If I were to want some sort of limitations, it'd be obviously to any form of like Floodgate that we've been seeing, right? Things like Red Reboot or Maxi, obviously. I'm also not that big of a fan of Ripper. That card is very frustrating. I still think the K9 cards are are cool. I like the Canine cards. I just don't like the way that Ripper works in particular. Being able to negate like a spell trap, or not a spell trap, a hand trap, I think is frustrating. Other than that, though, Mitsu, Habakiri, get Habakiri out of here. It's just ridiculously overpowered. And I like Mitsu without the Habakiri. I think you can still very easily play Mitsu alongside other things. As we saw with the Megalith build, right? There was a ton of other Mitsu cards in there that weren't Habakiri or weren't centered around Habakiri, and I think that's cool. I think stuff like that could absolutely be playable, and Mitsu wouldn't just like leave the metagame, but Habakiri is just way too overtuned. Being able to do like a combo and get stopped, right? Do like the Yummy combo, or do the Ryzeal combo, or do whatever else it may be. I've seen it with like everything, right? And then get stopped and then reveal Habakiri is ridiculous. So that's gonna be it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and remember to always stay frosty. Bye bye.